within the Area 51 compound. You can call that a subset of Area 51.
The skeptics are now the lunatics when it comes to UFOs. What an intriguing inversion. For many years, anyone who even dared to inquire about the enigmatic objects that have been spotted in the skies throughout every continent and throughout recorded history was labeled as crazy. The era of silence has ended, and the age of openness has begun. There has been a 46% increase in reported sightings of extraterrestrial craft. Using macro data from around 1947, we can do some honest math crunching and conclude that more than 90% of these claims will have a terrestrial explanation. But here's the thing. Those other 10% aren't automatically consigned to the National Enquirer anymore. Evidence of extraterrestrial craft has grown beyond reasonable doubt. No longer can UFOs be used as a cheap gag. Theories about extraterrestrial technology and life, such as the existence of intelligent gray aliens and flying saucers, have been made public by Bob Lazar. Are we ready for an alien invasion? What is the Pentagon, UFO, and Bob Lazar mystery? Let's find out. 3 recordings of unidentified flying objects that Navy aircraft tracking systems had recorded were made public by the Pentagon on April 27, 2020. 2 were taken in January 2015 and 1 in November 2004. The videos were made public through a leak. The videos depict moving objects with the names Gimbal, Go Fast, and Fleur, which appear to be defying the laws of aerodynamics while traveling at great speeds. There is no alien invasion brewing, at least not yet. Even yet, the skies have been particularly eerie this year. Off the coast of South Carolina, an F-22 knocked down a Chinese spy balloon that looked like the Sinosphere from 60,000 feet up. 3 more UFOs were spotted the next weekend, this time over Alaska, the Yukon, and Lake Huron. Fighter planes blew all 3 to bits. Did a young scientist by the name of Bob Lazar really spend time at S4, a top-secret government facility in Lincoln County not far from Area 51, working on captured extraterrestrial spacecraft? Area 51 is a U.S. Air Force base in the middle of the Nevada desert near Groom Lake that has gained notoriety due to rumors linking it to extraterrestrial craft. According to rumors surrounding the base, alien technology found at alleged crash sites, including the well-known one in Roswell, New Mexico, may be tested there. The fact that the base was kept a secret for a long time and is still off-limits to the general public has contributed to this. As a result, this unassuming military complex has had a significant impact on media and pop culture, while also becoming a crucial component of modern mythology and urban legend of the 20th century. Around the little communities of Rachel and Hiko, 120 miles to the northwest of Las Vegas, is where you'll find Area 51. The moniker, Area 51 Inches, appears to have originated from the Atomic Energy Commission map designation for the base, which is still remembered by the general public but is mostly forgotten by the military. In an effort to entice workers to the base, aerospace manufacturer Lockheed, now Lockheed Martin, gave the region the name Paradise Ranch when it was first established in 1955 as a component of the Nevada Test and Training Range Complex. As part of the Nevada National Security Site, NNSS, the installation and the larger Nevada Test and Training Range Complex are now known as Groom Lake and Homey Airport by the CIA. Despite the site's restricted satellite images, the base has been observable on Google Maps since 2018. The base is very modest, but there is a restricted area of roughly 90,000 acres around it for security reasons and to test classified aircraft. After the National Security Archive at George Washington University acquired a once classified CIA document outlining the history of the U-2 espionage plane, the U.S. military was forced to admit Area 51's existence in 2013. However, despite that acknowledgement, a trip to the base is not allowed. The base's operations are still kept a secret for legal military and government reasons. On the ground, you'll see stern signs, armed guards patrolling the walled perimeters monitored by subsurface motion sensors, cameras, guards, and so forth, as well as signs warning that deadly force is authorized. The military designates Area 51 as a Military Operating Area. Area 51's boundaries are delineated by orange poles and cautionary signs rather than fences. Visitors are informed by such signs that taking photos is prohibited and that trespassing on the property will result in a fine. The majority of the relationship between Area 51 and UFOs is probably due to the testing of brand-new top-secret military aircraft. UFOs are a logical conclusion given that odd lights and planes have occasionally been seen in the vicinity. It must be incredibly astoundingly secret since the government won't say what's going on there. What we refer to as Area 51 is only one of several military sites, national laboratories, and government research facilities across the nation that deal with secret, even top-secret, information, and require security clearances for staff and visitors. Both military personnel and civilian employees at Area 51 are required to sign an oath promising to keep all information secret. People are unable to see anything outside of their immediate responsibilities at the base due to the absence of windows in the buildings at the location. According to some sources, different teams would work on comparable projects concurrently, but their managers would keep each team in the dark about the work of the other team. Officials would instruct everyone who wasn't involved in the test flight to remain inside until the test flight was finished and the aircraft returned to its hangar. Along with the reported sightings of mysterious craft, Robert Lazar's 1989 assertion that he had been working on extraterrestrial technology inside the base solidified the mythos around Area 51. Bob Lazar first came to the public's attention in 1989 during an interview with George Knapp of KLAS-TV in Las Vegas. At first, Lazar used the alias Dennis and only communicated in silhouette. He later came forward without a mask and with his true identity. Lazar's assertions that the US government was in possession of 9 alien spacecraft, at least one of which was shaped like a real flying saucer, were fantastic. According to Lazar, he was a member of a group recruited by the government to reverse engineer the spacecraft in order to provide American scientists with the propulsion information they required to open a route to the stars. Lazar claimed that the reason he lost his position at the covert military base was because he had taken some buddies into the desert close to Area 51 to covertly observe a flying saucer. A deputy from Lincoln County observed the gang leaving the location and informed the authorities about Lazar. The most enticing aspects of conspiracy theories and alien abduction tales were merged in Lazar's tale. While the media attention surrounding Lazar's incredible claims practically put Area 51 on the map, it also put him in the spotlight, and it didn't take long for people to begin dissecting his account. Caltech and MIT, 2 institutions where Lazar claimed to have attended college, claimed to have never heard of him. It didn't assist Lazar's credibility much when, about a year after his first TV interview, he was charged with a crime for his role in running what the prosecution called an unlicensed, high-tech whorehouse. Lazar supplied one of the only pieces of tangible proof that he had worked at a covert Nevada base as his judicial case progressed. It was a W-2 form that reportedly showed him receiving less than $1,000 in revenue from the Department of Naval Intelligence. Even the validity of such a form was called into question. There is an Office of Naval Intelligence within the Department of the Navy, but there isn't a Department of Naval Intelligence, as skeptics noted. Our planet might be in serious trouble if his claims about flying saucers are genuine, and he is typical of the scientists we have working on the most important scientific project in history. Nevertheless, despite doubts about its veracity, a lack of tangible proof, and a lack of support from other scientists, Lazar's incredible story has not only endured, but flourished for more than 3 decades. 2018 saw a resurgence of interest in his allegations as a result of a documentary directed by Jeremy Corbell. Lazar appeared on the Joe Rogan podcast, which is arguably the most popular podcast on the planet, this planet at least, as a result of the Netflix documentary, which received a lot of attention. Meanwhile, Corbell has recently been in numerous interviews on network news talk shows. He is the source of at least one recent UAP leak that shows what look to be triangle shapes traveling through the sky. Corbell hasn't asserted that the UAP videos demonstrate alien intelligence in action. He did, however, state in his video that he thought there was more proof Bob Lazar was telling the truth than there was that he was telling lies. Some would never imply that these airborne objects could not have come from another planet. They very well could be. Perhaps it's time to treat Bob Lazar seriously now that NASA is doing so with regard to UFOs. NASA's independent study on UFOs, or unidentified aerial phenomena, UAP, to use the preferred destigmatizing acronym, began last year, presumably without a viewing of The X-Files. The team consists of 16 experts, including astrophysicist, data scientist, oceanographer, and former astronaut Scott Kelly. Whatever or whoever they are, they're still out there, and the American intelligence is after them. After decades of conspiracy theories, TV shows, movies, and presidents' sly jokes, the tantalizing promise of top government intelligence finally weighing in will instead produce a more banal reality that is unlikely to sway many people's opinions. The sightings have not been linked to aliens, but there is no evidence to support this either, according to investigators. According to two officials, the American government is unable to provide a conclusive explanation for aerial phenomena observed by military pilots. Assuming Lazar has been telling the truth, can the report avoid conceding that? Wouldn't the Pentagon have to say at the very least, "Well, senators, we're not sure what's causing all these recent UAP sightings, but we can tell you that we have an alien technology in our possession capable of performing the same kind of high-speed, gravity-defying maneuvers we're seeing in these videos." Such information would undoubtedly be the biggest news since Genesis. After all these years, there is one thing you can say about Lazar. He was unambiguous. Lazar didn't make any oblique, enticing suggestions, as some people have recently done in the media, that American scientists may have exotic materials that need to be tested further to see if they originate from extraterrestrial life. Lazar stated unequivocally that they have 9 extraterrestrial craft in captivity. 9! That they have been researching these craft for more than 30 years, and that he has worked on the machinery himself. Does the government really keep dead aliens and UFOs hidden? An alleged deep state cover-up of recovered extraterrestrial craft and the pilots' corpses is enough to blow a conspiracy theorist's mind. This claim is made by a recognized former intelligence officer who worked with the Pentagon's All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, AARO, which is tasked with finding strange objects close to military assets. This individual is not some outside crank. The Washington Post and Politico, among other usual suspects in the media, passed on the initial report, which instead found a home on the Science and Defense website, The Debrief. Although whistleblower David Grush admits he hasn't seen the said in-hand debris of unidentified anomalous phenomenon, UAP. Vox and a New York Times podcast have since reported his claims. He claims he is simply recounting what other, as of yet unknown persons informed him. He does not actually possess any direct evidence of them. Nevertheless, he was prepared to provide 11 hours of confidential testimony to congressional investigators. Leslie Keene, one of the debrief co-writers, told Times podcaster Ezra Klein that nobody at the level of a David Grush, who has been to Congress, has ever talked about the frequently cited federal cover-up of the ET scandal. According to Vox, Grush's supporters think that withholding further information is to be expected, because doing so would be against the law, because the information would be classified. Additionally, they contend that he informed the Inspector General and Congress of the secret information he was aware of, and they both constitute criminal entities if lied to. Klein and other skeptics ponder why, if genuine, the Pentagon would approve such a valuable revelation, as it did with Grush. Klein questions the government's ability to continue such a comprehensive and protracted cover-up. It has been discovered that the majority of UAP sightings can be explained by real-world, as it were, variables. Only a small portion, though, is still mysterious. Is the truth really out there? The periodic table did not yet include element 115, when Lazar first suggested it as a potential source of energy for anti-gravitational propulsion. It now does. Isn't that strange? The name element 115 has been associated with UFOs, aliens, and other similar occurrences for decades, despite the fact that it was just identified in 2003. In some ways, element 115 is a mystery. Even though it was only included in the periodic table in 2016, it has long been the subject of speculation regarding extraterrestrial technology and alien life forms. Intrigued? Let's first determine what element 115 actually is before attempting to determine whether there is a relationship. The super-heavy element 115, also known as moscovium, was created by humans and possesses 115 protons in its nucleus. The number of the element on the periodic table, like with all other elements, correlates to the number of protons in the atom's nucleus. That is 23 more protons than uranium, the element with the most mass that can be found in significant quantities on Earth. The exceedingly uncommon element 115, which is created one atom at a time in particle accelerators, is only present for a very brief period of time before decaying into another element. It is special because it is close to a predicted island of stability, where some super-heavy nuclei might have much longer lifetimes. Instead of existing for less than a second, they might exist for minutes, days, or even years. That is long enough that we might be able to use them for practical applications. A team of researchers led by nuclear physicist Yuri Oganessian discovered element 115 in 2003 at the Flerov Laboratory for Nuclear Reactions in Dubna, Russia. The element was then given the name moscovium because Dubna is a Moscow city. To successfully fuse the nuclei of 243 Am and 48 K atoms, the scientists bombarded americium 243 Am with calcium 48 Ca ions that had been accelerated to about 10% of the speed of light. This process resulted in 4 atoms of moscovium, which is a super-heavy element that requires the complete fusion of 2 lighter elements. It took years for scientists to figure out some of the intricacies concerning moscovium, and it wasn't until 2018 that Berkeley Lab researchers determined the element's mass or atomic weight, which is the sum of all the protons and neutrons in an atom. They produced about 1 atom of moscovium per day, and that atom was captured by an instrument called Fiona for the identification of nuclide A, which to the untrained eye looks like a small metal bank vault. So far, moscovium hasn't been used for anything other than scientific research, but they were able to nail down this crucial number by repeating the process that the first discoverers used to pin down the element. Lazar claimed to have utilized element 115, which was used to control alien spaceships, firsthand. An element that heavy cannot be created here on Earth. The chemical must originate from a region where naturally occurring super-heavy elements are possible, according to Lazar. He even claimed that 9 alien spacecraft allegedly used some sort of propulsion system that harnessed the inherent power of gravity, and thus utilized the characteristics of element 115 to work their technological wizardry. He claimed to have seen evidence of anti-gravity propulsion technologies. The majority of his assertions have never been completely refuted, as several sources have noted, and the government doesn't acknowledge the employment of anyone who has worked at Area 51. Fundamental science continues to refute his statements, nonetheless. That's development, and it's good that the government and military are at least now seriously and urgently investigating what's generating these events and whether they pose a threat to our security. In the meantime, let's face it, if an extraterrestrial race of evil extraterrestrials ever decides to make Earth into their Club Med, that's it for humanity. If a little green man suddenly appears in your office with the intention of harvesting your organs, what could you possibly do? Throw your MacBook at him? Scream and try to flee as a beam of light flashes out of his enormous eyes and hits you in the spine before you're frozen and levitated in front of a horrifying anal probe? Even Tom Cruise is doomed. Well, maybe that won't happen. Anyway, the truth is out there. In any case, we have to keep scanning the skies to find our answers. What do you think? Are we being kept in the dark about UFOs by the Pentagon or not? Thanks for watching another episode of Voyager. While you're still here, make sure to click the video on your screen for more mind-blowing videos about space.